News time. I should create like a overlay type of thing. The do 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 do.
The little circle thing coming in. It is news time.
The news.
Nuclear grenade news alert. Extra, extra, read all about it. Couple guys reading other people's news. So apparently, Knockout City had up to 5 million players because they were giving it away for the first 10 days or so.
Knockout City? Who made that? Bill Cosby?
Yeah. That the dodgeball game, we talked about it last week, the week before.
Oh, yeah, it looks like Splatoon, right? That one?
Yeah. And so now they've made it permanently free up to rank 25. It's also, I believe, included with the Xbox Game Pass. So it's cool. That's doing well. We predicted it wouldn't do that well, so I will be surprised if it keeps going. It does seem like people are enjoying it a fair amount. But yeah, it's cool. It's cool to see it do that well, even though it was free.
Yeah, that seems like one of those games that would be fun, like back in middle school or even high school, where you'd have friends over, and like you'd have like a pizza and like energy drinks and stuff, and your one friend like managed to get some weed, and then you just like stay up all night, like and play a game like that on a split screen. That seems like one of those games.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I should hop on and try it. I don't know why I haven't. This one here. So apparently, a photographer alleges Capcom stole their work for Resident Evil 4 in a new lawsuit.
Wait, what? Say that again.
A photographer alleges Capcom stole their work for Resident Evil 4 and more in a new lawsuit.
Like what kind of photography?
Well, it's accusing Capcom of using images from her book Surfaces in several high-profile Capcom games without licensing them from her. According to the lawsuit, she travels the world photographing various designs. She compiled her photographs into a book and CD-ROM called Surfaces in 1996. And sometimes interested parties will contact her to license her work, but Capcom never did. She claims that licenses to image her book, or without license to image her book, they used 100 different instances. One prominent example is a picture of shattered glass she took in Italy, which seemed to be used for the Resident Evil 4 logo. Yeah, that looking at the images, it does look identical. Yeah. Second example, there's a photograph of a mansion in Newport, Rhode Island with a similar design, and the design is basically identical.
Wow.
To what's in the game. Yeah, and so it says the lawyers are asking for up to $12 million in damages for copyright infringement, as well as $2,500 to $25,000 for each used photograph for false copyright management and removal of copyright management. So IGN has contacted Capcom, but was simply told, "We are aware of the lawsuit and have no further comment."
I guess my question would be is like, how much money was she making off of those images before? Because really that would be the actual value of those images. I bet you the actual value is close to nothing,
I'm sure it'll be worth something.
Well, yeah, it'll be worth something. Way more than it's actually worth. Just because of the principle of it.
Well, if she had it published in a book back in the 90s, I mean, that was before self-publishing.
Oh, is it an actual book?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it was a book compilation.
Oh. Wow, Capcom is in a little bit of trouble then.
Yeah, I mean, how much money they make from Resi 4, and up to 12 million, they'll probably negotiate down to a couple million. Big deal. Balan Wonderland creator unexpectedly leaves Square Enix. Was that unexpected? Were we not expecting this?
Who leaves Square Enix?
Yuji. Huh?
Who left Square Enix?
Yuji Naka.
I don't know.
The guy who left. So Balan Wonderland was this platformer, 3D platformer game done in like the Mario style, released on PC and other consoles, I believe, as well. And it was a Square Enix platformer, which they don't do. And it did not do well. So it says here, IGN has independently verified that Naka left the company at the end of April. Upon joining Square Enix, Naka had opened his own internal studio, Balan Company, to make Balan Wonderland. He had already told IGN way back in the day in an interview that this game was his one chance to make a platformer for the publisher. When the game arrived, it was critically panned and has seemingly struggled commercially. So, yeah, the game bombed. It was a shitty, fucking boring game. It looked horrible. Lifeless and weird, and so he got the old boot. Yeah, so it just looked really, really bad. Yuji Naka, in the Japanese tradition, has wandered into the woods to commit seppuku or harikari.
Yeah. Oh shit. Harikari.
For honor, I have dishonored my family. This horrible game.
It's always about honor with those people.
Yeah, dude. Well, if he didn't, like, he'd be walking in the street and a little kid would be like, "Hey, did you make Balan Wonderland?" "Yes, I did." And then the kid would just throw like a boba tea in his face.
Yeah.
You got the boot from old Square Enix.
Yeah, as soon as Squaresoft sold into Square Enix, like, I really liked Squaresoft. I liked Final Fantasy VII, Final Fantasy VIII, some of the other Squaresoft games. But then when they sold to Square Enix, like, I can't really think of a game that I really liked that they did. Like, I'll probably get some hate for saying this, but I could not stand Kingdom Hearts. I thought Kingdom Hearts was garbage. Very generic, like, bland. Like, the first one might have been cool, like, but I didn't really play it back then. But I saw other people playing it. And then my wife was playing the newest one, and I'm like, this looks terrible, but maybe it's just not my style. I could not disagree
more. Yeah, I'm not saying they're the greatest games of all time, but the control was really cool. Like, they kind of created almost that style of action, that smoothness of the action RPG. And that was really good. And then also it was like the first time to see kind of like a mix of cartoon and video game characters. Like, I thought it drips with style. The storylines were there were Square nonsense storylines, and the voice acting was was hollow and generic, I felt like. But
I didn't like
everything else. Ooze style.
I didn't like the level design. I didn't like.
Sure.
I didn't like.
That's fair.
The graphics. I thought, it's just. Did you? I just found it very. And it just made me feel kind of gross just looking at it.
What?
I don't know why. Like, I can't be in the same room while Brooke is playing it.
And so we got 80 Days Studio surprise release, a murder mystery where you play the murderer. 80 Days was like a really cool game. I had it like on the iPad back in the day. I believe it's on Steam as well. It's kind of like this choose your own adventure where you're trying to make it around the world. It's that classic story of the 80 days around the world in like a hot air balloon. And there's multiple different ways to play through it. And it's really awesome. It's well animated. And it's very cozy and fun and interesting. So it's cool to see that they've surprise released this new game, Overboard, a new narrative murder mystery game in which you play the murderer trying to get away with the crime. It takes place in 1935. You're an actress who pushes her husband overboard on a boat, and so essentially you gotta try to get away with it, trick people on the boat. Seems like it'll be pretty cool. Art style is always is just really, really cool.
So it's like you just kind of pick the different dialogue options, and the story
Mhm.
progresses based on what you choose.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it looks like it'd be kind of fun. It's definitely not a $60 game. It's a $13 game on Steam. It's only got 59
Yeah.
reviews, but it's very positive. Looks like a chill
Yeah.
game.
Yeah. Well, yeah, 15% off on iOS. It's only $5.99, so I'll probably get it on my iPad instead of PC. I hate that they do that too. Like, why is it more expensive for the Steam version? It's because people won't pay more than $5-6 on their phone.
Yeah, well, that's true. And there's kind of an illusion of quality as well, like when you price something a little bit higher. So maybe they're playing that game where it's like, hey, it's a $13 game, so you can expect more content than if you were to buy a $5 game.
Yeah.
Marketing, evil advertising.
I can feel my pockets getting deeper.
Scrooge McDuck over here. I always loved that scene when I was little. When Scrooge McDuck goes into his vault and he like dives into it, it's just like all this money and stuff. Oh, I love that scene.
The last story is Minecraft speedrunner, or he's a Minecraft player, and he doesn't really normally do speedruns, but this is a very popular Minecraft player on the old Twitch and YouTube's. Ghost is his name, or no, Dream is his name. Why do I keep thinking Ghost?
Dream?
Dream, yeah.
Okay.
And so he said he did like a world record speed run a few months ago, and people looked at it and were looking at the odds because you have to get ender pearls and these other things that have fairly rare drop rates. So they looked at it and they did the math and figured out that how fast he got them was essentially improbable, statistically improbable. And they released this like whole document that looked exactly like a scientific peer-reviewed journal, like how it was written up, and they had like the mathematics involved and the odds of someone getting this lucky in a row, and then the odds of that like being streamed. And we're like, yeah, this guy did not use. This was not vanilla. He cheated to get this. And so Dream hired his own mathematician to get back at the adders.
Oh
Flat back.
god.
So he has his own mathematician. Oh, it's actually the odds are this low, and they're much lower than you said. But then they pointed out errors in that mathematician's work, and Dream's denying it the whole time. And then at some point a couple days ago, in a statement to Pastebin, he says, I ended up finding out that I had actually been using disallowed modification during 6 of my live streams on Twitch.
Wow.
Whoopsie doodle. I mean, I am, instead of just going in and checking my mod folder, I'm gonna hire a mathematician to defend me and prove that I'm not cheating, instead of just looking in my mods folder and saying like, oh, maybe I left some mods in here. If this is your defense is, whoops-a-doodle, I totally forgot. I just didn't notice.
He knew he had mods. I bet you he knew.
Exactly. Well, you don't hire a mathematician before you check and see if you're cheating, if you don't know, and then go on the like offensive like that. If you don't know for a fact you're cheating, trying to pass off a fake record as a real record.
Yeah, the thing with like Twitch and YouTube and stuff like that, like if you're going to be streaming or creating content or anything like that, that's one way to get people to hate you really fast. You'll lie to them and then you try to defend yourself by making things up. Yeah, people don't respond well to that. So I don't know if there's a whole lot of Dream fans. It sounds like there might be, but I think you'd have to really scratch the bottom of the barrel to defend him on that. That's really gross to do a speed run and then find out, hey, he was using mods, and then he tried to defend it by hiring a mathematician to kind of like fake what was going on. I'm sure he was like, hey, can you defend me, mathematician? I was using mods, but can you convince all these stupid people, all my stupid fans, that I wasn't using mods? Yeah, that's gross.
Well, he's a Minecraft player, and just like by definition, his fan base is incredibly young.
5-year-olds.
I don't even think this is yeah, and like 5 to 12, 13-year-olds. So I don't even think this will have any impact on his views. And again, this guy's not just a little pot; he's got millions and millions of followers. Like,
oh wow,
these the people that release content for children are, they get huge numbers, because I see it with my nieces and nephews. All of the kids are on fucking YouTube and Twitch, and all of them. I want YouTube, and they'll just fucking sit there on the parent's phone or on their iPad and watch YouTube. I do the same thing as an adult. I'm not hating,
yeah.
but I have a fully formed like frontal lobe, and so it's especially funny to like trick like children of this age. But here's his response in our challenge video, and so he got 5th. He placed 5th fastest any percent random seed glitchless run for Minecraft
With mods.
But he said with the mods, but that's what he submitted, where they found out he was cheating. But in our challenge videos before 1.16, we always increase the Enderman spawn rates and Pearl drop rates out of convenience, and we've mentioned that openly before. It makes the videos better because we don't spend hours looking for pearls or spend so much time farming blaze rods. When 1.16 came out, it was more complicated to increase piglin trades than it is to do Enderman pearl drops. A server-side plugin was made for our videos that slightly increases the rates. Around this time is when the first version of the recording mod was being made, although it was more of a chat mod at this point. This mod is the root of the situation. So, okay, it wasn't like just a straight up mod, but I was using like a plugin and modding his stats. And so, yeah, he submitted the 5th fastest time to this website that does speedrun.com, does all the speedruns. And the moderators rejected it. And yeah, it was a 29-page report that they released saying why they're rejecting it. And the odds they calculated were 1 in 177 billion.
Wow.
And so they stated in that report, it's like, if nothing else, the drop rates from Dream streams are so exceptional that they ought to be analyzed for the sake of it, regardless of whether or not anyone individual believes they happened legitimately.
That's shady.
So it's so shady. And again, this guy, he's probably not going to lose like one viewer. Like, he's not going to lose anything noticeable because his fan base is so young. But it also begs the question, if you're already that successful as a channel, I mean, why even do this? And like the first time when it comes out, when you get rejected from speedrun.com, instead of like throwing a fit and like trying to defend yourself, you should have been like, oh, looked into it. You should have looked into yourself. And then like, oh shit, we are. If it was a legitimate accident, look into yourself first, and then find out if you had the mod that you forgot about or something installed. And then, you would have saved yourself all this embarrassment.